Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I just want to remind everybody, to me, and to us, the way we work, hurricane season starts June 1, but for us, the serious storms come after August 15th. So we kind of aim our work to be completed to be able to help hurricane season, so we kind of focus in on August 15th all the time. And we've had real good improvements over the projects that we had. But again, to August, it's 15 years now, on August 29th, we had Katrina hit. Kind of changed the world, you know. And that's 15 years ago, and still some things haven't moved forward. Again, looking at that August 15th, trying to get all the work we can, but here's a big job that we have north of pump station number 2, Basin, where we're going to raise the levee. Some places are just 13 feet high, and we're going to eventually have them at 18. GIS is doing the work. We have a lot of dirt getting close to the levee, they haven't gotten it quite on top. But we, if we need to in a jam, maybe get some equipment in there and get the lower areas at least up to 15. That's where we're at. Okay, this is bully camp working up. Now, our employees built this up to 18 feet. I wanted the contractors to kind of see how it'll look and how the project might be, so they can give us a better view. And that's at an 18-foot elevation. And you start to climb up that thing, you start getting out of breath. It's not nosebleed, but it's not that far from nosebleed. And here's the contractor doing that work. Okay, the levee here is between 13 and 15 feet. And contractors relaying it with excavators, and eventually going to get that 18 feet on top of the levee. This is the whole area from Bully Camp to Fall Difference Farm.
Well, do we, part of your presentation, is there any stuff from what Frank was talking about?
You know what? I don't think we put any of
Okay,
this.
I was gonna say if you did, because
We did last month. We showed a lot of.
Back here to show us one.
And this is the work we're doing. We have, y'all have agreed to raise the ramps. These are ramps to the boat launch and this is Bully Camp. Y'all also agreed to raise the ramp at Golden Meadow and also the loop ramp. And so we're moving forward on all of those, but we actually have construction going on. The way it's being done, half of the road is being elevated for the ramp. And then after that's completed, we do the other half. So that you always have some.
You started on the left side now.
Oh, yeah, okay, good. I didn't go there this morning. So, and what that does, you can see the elevation to the right. That's approaching a 20-foot elevation actually. And we're gonna be going across and see. Okay, that's from the outside looking in. And you see they're in that same side. And here you see they're filling up a little bit more elevation, but you can look on the left. And we are getting the work done on the left side. There's the levee itself is a little bit low, but we have a contractor there working on that also. And again, you can see the elevation that we're raising it to. Now this is the area south of Basin. And that's our employees are doing the work here. They're doing a really good job. That dirt, you know, with the big contractor, he placed the dirt from the other side of the bar canal to this side so we could use it for the construction. And this is the project, the process is going on. And again, they relay the dirt to the top. And this is an 18-foot levee. Guys, beautiful levee, did a great job. And that's all the way from the Golden Meadow Park all the way to Basin, and we're getting very close to that completion. And that's near the Basin area. At the stake right there, you're going to see the mark, black mark, it's at 16 feet. And we'll get this one at least up to 16 in this area, and we should get there before September 1st. Just something we're working area, again, our guys doing the work. I'm sorry, Levee to the side, and our guys move it to the side of the levee, they got our bulldozers to shake it, put it on top. Also, on this project, every project that we try to rehabilitate, we try not to work on the unprotected side, the side that's gonna face the water. We try to, actually move the center line a little bit to the right. In other words, we don't have to grub the outside, it's compacted, it's got grass on it, a storm hits, it's in great shape. And if we don't have to do that, that's fantastic. We just follow the angle up, and so the center line of the levee moves a little bit to the right, but we have good compacted soil and grass on that side, so that's always our first way of trying to do that type of work. And then our guys are gonna put the dirt on top and shake it. This is our crossing behind here. When the contract was leaving, we decided to make a land contact between our property and the levee. And as you can see on the upper part of the picture, it's holding up real well because that's the one part we didn't dig. This side, we had a 20-foot hole we had to kind of fill in. But as it solidifies, we just need a 10-foot wide crown to get our equipment across. And I've got drakes putting together. We're gonna put some culverts just like we have in Bullet Camp, same size. But it's also there to help block some of that water. If we get a consistent north wind blowing this channel, we could raise, this channel goes about 18 miles from the Golden Meadow area to Rose. That water can get stacked up in Golden Meadow where the houses are on a lot closer to the back canal than they are in the upper area. So what this does is gonna slow down that, they call it a Seshi effect of the wind stacking up the water on the south end. And this is helpful, Bullet Camp is helpful, and we have a pipeline crossing a little bit south here, which is gonna slow down the flow of the water going from just wind. For Hurricane Cindy, if you remember, that was also in 2005, on July the 5th. It was a tropical storm, it got in Barataria Bay, and then the wind blew out of the north for 6 hours. It actually pushed the water level in the bayou where it was over the little wall in Golden Meadow. This is no rainfall, this is not hurricane water, this is just the wind rose the bayou level 2.5 feet higher in Golden Meadow area. So we're gonna try to avoid that, yeah.
Doesn't that make it a long distance to pump from the Rose to this levee? There's no pump?
Well, the thing is, it is a long distance, but we pump all the way from the Rose.
Yeah, but this week, the Golden Meadow pumps can't help you.
No, but what I'm telling you, we put some culverts in here, just like a baseball.
Yeah, but you're not there yet.
No, but we have the capacity to pump on both sides. It was basically figured out for the right along this line, the capacity. Now, if we would run into problems, because we thought about that, what if something would happen, or a pump would break or burn, whatever? We get an excavator and cut a hole. I mean, we can do that in 4 or 5 hours, have water flow. So,
Because you could have a lot of rain on the upper end, and the lower end.
yeah, and that happens, But we're kind of stuck with that type of situation on the east side, so this is not a new situation. And the east side, the canal at Clover, the inside canal, there's hardly any water flow at all. And then we have an interior canal south of pump station number 6, when you go south of Red Oak Canal. Again, we don't have good flow in between also.
So when we gonna put the culverts here?
Okay, we're gonna, when we think that this is settled enough to do the whole job.
Just have to let it settle, so.
Yeah, we just want, it's some new material, it's wet on wet basically, and you let it tighten up a little bit, tighten up as much as it's gonna tighten up. And then we'll start slowly working the sides in, and we have some dry dirt along the bank. And this outside the system, we've had several marsh creation projects that we've had. And they help out tremendously. This is further south where we've already raised the levee up to 18 feet. There's a ball canal on the inside. Where you see the greener grass, that used to be open water. This is the job that Ducks Unlimited, ConocoPhillips, the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, all pulled some money together and made some really nice marsh where we had open water. This is part of the same port. This is the containment, but the water got over, the slurry got over the containment, and this used to be open water right here up against the levee right there. So this has worked out real well. We were supposed to do a groundbreaking or a celebration of the project right when the COVID came along, but now they're gonna do a virtual one. But again, most of this was open water, most of this was open water. Here's some work we're doing behind the parking golden meadow, ConocoPhillips. We asked them to give us this is some dirt between our borough canal and the old canal behind, the parking golden meadow. And we do need some dirt in this area for a couple of reasons. We're gonna use some of this to fix the ramp. And some other, the leg's a little bit low between the corner right here behind the park and pump station number 1. And so we're gonna dig in the dry material, compacted material, and raise the elevation close to 18, and use some of that dirt to do the ramp, and then just we'll fill it in with the material we're taking from here. There's a closer shot, there's the park right here. And it looks a lot different. You go back to the park and you're used to seeing the trees showing out. Now with this going, you'll be looking at the borough canal and the levee. This is work that's being done on the east side. Our flood insurance is rated on our levees being a certain elevation, and this is one of the areas that it was a little bit low. And so we're getting the work done over here. And the other thing that's nice on the east side, this is between Clovelly Farms and Breton Canal. You still have some nice ridges, some spoil banks with big trees on them, and the marsh is in pretty good shape. Over here, we're maintaining this at -7 as the Bayou Lafourche Ridge over here. And some of this had gone down below 13, and we need to have it 13 for flood insurance. But of course, our main reason for getting it up is to stop flooding should we get a storm in that area. Again, this is looking toward Clovelly. And here's a protected side, here's a marsh side, and his contractor doing the work. Now, if you notice, he is working both sides, because they feel we have enough room over here. We are adding dirt on both sides, so we want to kind of hurry up, get it done, get grass going on here, so we can protect the material that's in place. Whenever you have raw dirt without grass on it, if you get wave action enough, you can lose a substantial amount of material. And again, they've been working on this and doing a really good job. Here's the ground level, and it's got to work in the top. And again, just relaying it. We had a contractor place the material from the borough canal onto the toe of the levee. Now we have this contractor moving it. Also, by moving it a couple of times, you also get better compaction for a better levee. And here's the marsh on the outside. Man, it used to be like this back in the 50s. The whole system would have marsh like this, but this is one of the few areas left that we have good solid marsh on the side. We wouldn't have to worry about that wave action and adding stuff. Here's a tree line area. Now this is work. This is the part of Barganza. That's going from Funnelshan along Grand Bayou. Okay, and we had a contractor that placed 1.6 million cubic yards, and it was just basically wet stuff on wet stuff. We had a little mitigation levee, but it was only 4 feet high, not very wide. And to see this dry dirt here that's started working now, and finally started to turn it into a levee. So this is material that was dredged from here to about -15 and placed up here. Thinking about this, you know, fish used to live on this dirt when it was in the canal just a year ago. And now we got it up there to stop the water from going over. Again, this is good progress they're making in this area. This is the mitigation, and this is at the corner of the Paul Dufresne Farm, which is section L with Morganza, and our levee. And this is outside of the containment. We had an area where we put some hay bales to stop the water, you know, to keep the containment of the material being dumped over here, because this is the marsh that we have to mitigate right over here. And everything you see that's dirt now, that's all open water. And it kept leaking out, and it had some extra material, and the way it worked out, we've got everything filled in here, and we're gonna make a whole bunch of new marsh on the outside of the containment, which is good for everybody. Here's that here we try to contain this pipeline canal and just continually going through it. But this, by next year, should be all green and just a real good mitigation project. And it benefits the wildlife, but it also helps protect the toe of the levee. Again, here's the outside the system, here's the inside. And this is the heart of it, and it's mostly dry. outside. And here again is the containment here. And this is the little levee, and no, this is our levee. And this is the all different levee, which is section L for Morganza. And you see this is the corner that we have all the material placed in. All right. Good job. Okay, again, show the Dover gutter based on boardwalk track improvement. I also wanted to announce, 2 years ago, I had the attorney that was suggested by the state on the BP oil spill. He had gotten us about $5 million. And, there was another little fund of money. He says, you wanna go give it a try? I said, I don't expect you much. I said, well, if we get $10 more, so we authorized him to go ahead and try to see if he can get in that pot of money from the BP spill. Hadn't heard from him in 2 years, so I get a call last week, and he said, you got a couple of minutes? I said, yeah, you know. And he said, well, you don't remember that? I said, yeah, I remember, I figured it didn't go anywhere, and I hadn't heard from him. He says, well, it turned out a little bit better than we expected. We're gonna have about $3.4 million from that little attempt, okay, so that was great news. We also have to thank, Wendy Thibodeau, the assessor. You know, the property that we have was given to us by the state, and there was some problems in proving it. She did the assessment work necessary to prove to the, people in charge of that fund that we did actually have that property. And so she played a critical part, and that's what we need to thank her, and I'm gonna get a letter to her thanking her for that. But we got the $3.4 million, and that is, again, a big asset. You know, one of the big projects that we don't have totally funded is the floodgate. So right now, I would suggest that if you'll have no objections to it, that we put that money there. Now, we can always move it around if we need to in the future, but if we'll work with it going toward that lock, the lock in the rows to turn the whole floodgate into a lock. And also you'll have a list back there, we'll talk about that. Again, going to the project list, the first part of the list is the $4 million that we've been given to by the state. And we have $4 million there, and also 1.8 that is in bond money. And these are projects I'm suggesting that we go ahead and use on that project. And then behind that list, if you look in your folder. So that's for capital only this year, and it's the $4 million for the section F ground, the Rose flood wall, and that's the flood wall along the intercoastal, that's only at 10 feet, we want to raise it to 13 feet. And the A East by Lafourche water retention project, where we can control the water by Lafourche when the floodgates are closed and the lock is closed. And then I'm suggesting that we look at requesting the 1.8 million to match up with the other money that I'll show at the bottom of the page, you know, 3.4 million, and then the parishes go Mesa Fund, they've dedicated $5 million toward that lot. So we, you know, if we can get some engineering done and kind of pinch the cost of that project, we might be close to having the money right now. And we need to get it within the year, have the lot lined up, because we only have 2 years to spend that $5 million. And if we don't, we can't keep it. So we're gonna do those things. Now, if you look at the next list, it's the tier 1 list. Those are all projects that are being constructed right now, and we still have to come, you know, pay $9 million for all those projects that we haven't finished paying yet. And then if you look at the next list, to do those projects, it's gonna cost us probably $8 million, but because of some of that funding's gonna come from Mesa, it might be as low as $5 million. So we're very close to having get the money we need to build the projects to where we had designed those projects after Katrina. The only thing we don't have total funding, it looks like, is the lock itself. I mean, it looks like we're very close to that. For the next 2 years, we can have a tremendous amount of construction and get very close to where we think we need to be. And I would just like y'all to have no objections, to agree to these lists, that, you know, we can change it at any time. But I would suggest that y'all approve that, I can move forward and start requesting the capital outlay money,
Need a
next
motion?
week. I need a motion. Motion.
Motion by Roland, second by Matt, and with, the general manager said, we approve the, 2021 capital outlay funding.
Yeah, and the tier 1 and tier 2.
And the tier two, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have.
That lock is a key.
Yeah.
That lock is a key.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, see, you know, when we turned the Golden Meadow floodgate into a lot, it was also a safety issue along with economic. And the rules, this is 100% an economic thing, okay? But it's critical for the viability of Lafourche economically and also going to Fouchon. You know, you get your drilling mud and you get your fuel from the intercoastal down by Lafourche. We need to keep it going. Right now, there's some times that we get enough south wind that the water level in the intercoastal, we close as long as 4 to 5 days. And Fouchon can't stand too much longer than 4 days without having supplies by barge. So this is really gonna take that pressure off of us trying to not let Golden Meadow and Galiana flood and stop the economics that we need to have to go down. It's critical. So this gives us an opportunity with that lock, turn the rolls into lock, and we don't have to worry about it again. Just like when we turned Golden Meadow into a lock, the pressure it took off of it's unbelievable. You know, this Fouchon is blowing and going, and yet we got the water going over the road in Golden Meadow. If we don't close it and have flood events, and it was like pressure packed, and once we got that lock in place, I mean, it's been fantastic. I never imagined it would work as good as it does. It limits so much water when we get inside our system that we don't worry about it at all.
Well, you know, without the levee, there'll be no Fouchon.
Yeah.
Without the locks, there'll be no Golden Meadow.
That's right. But water went over the road to Golden Meadow. Think about this, the 4-lane highway, we talked about it last week, the 4-lane highway near the park in Golden Meadow. The same 4-lane highway that the 21-foot elevated road from Fouchon's coming down, okay, within 200 yards of that, is minus 2.4 feet. That's why everything has to work together. But again, yeah, when we get that done, the rules are a big help. And that's all I have right now.
All right, moving on to engineering report. Anyone from CPRA here?
Yes, good afternoon. This is Daniel Deer from CPRA. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Daniel, go ahead.
All right, thanks. Just a quick update on some of the agreements that CPRA has with South Lafourche. First off, our T-154, the LaRose Golden Meadow Amendment Number 1. I understand that's fully executed now, so that's done, which allows the usage of the remaining funds for the Golden Meadow Pump Station football. Past that, we have a few Go Mesa projects that have agreements with South Lafourche. T-151 is the Grand Bayou Flood Control agreement. We have an Amendment 1 for that one, and I believe we have signed it. CPRA has, and it is to be signed soon by South Lafourche, I understand?
Yeah,
This is-
what happened, we were ready, everybody agreed to sign it, but because of some of the funding changes in there, we have a primary agreement between North Lafourche, Terrebonne, and us, and so we had to put a second amendment for us. So they said they'd have it finished this week. Oh. You snuck in. You know, you can tell Ray is no longer a sitting senator, because before you would always know something on it. So, we execute that and ready to go with it, yes, yeah. So that, we got the second agreement done, so you'll get it in a little bit, or CPRA will get it over there.
Great. I'll go ahead and note. Beyond that, we have a couple other Go Mesa projects. Quickly here, we have BA 247, which is your crawfish farms agreement between us. I have it as fully executed now. I think on the project documents, I think I have CPRA is just waiting on you guys and GIS to review and I believe respond to the comments.
Yeah, I
that
spoke
CPR
to John, and
had
John's
on
gonna
there.
talk a little bit later, but
Yeah.
he said this week,
Okay.
probably in a couple of days, we will get that to you.
Okay, good. And then the last one I have here is just, another Gomesa agreement with, BA 246, that's the state number. It's a section D north ramp, and that's in the draft IGA stage. I believe, CPR sent it to, South Lafourche for comments.
Okay.
I think that's where we're at. Also, project manager says that, we are waiting, for the plans and specs to start reviewing those.
Yep.
All right, that's all I got. Thanks.
Any questions for Daniel? Thank you, Daniel. Moving on to, anyone from the Corps of Engineers? That's all right. Next up is, Christie Olin Associates, anyone online?
Yes.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm on the line.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
I'm on the line. Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you.
We can hear
Okay,
you.
good. Levee section east-south grading and shaping, Lowland Construction is the contractor. He's on site moving, levee into material into the levee section. Project's looking good. That's the photos that Wendell showed you. He has a pay application number 8 in the amount of $19,000 even, and we do recommend that you pay that pay application.
All righty, you've heard the, request from our engineer to pay, request number 8 in the amount of $19,000 for Lowland. Need a motion? Mac, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, and E North, which is digging a borrow pit and moving material in the levee section, Grand Isle Shipyard is the contractor. He's on site working in the borrow pit, hauling material. He's got pay application number 3 in the amount of $5,316.54, and we do recommend you pay that.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation of engineer to pay request number 3 in the amount of $5,316.54. Motion by Roland Guidry, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
On the D South Levee, SBL is the contractor on this project. He's continually working on excavating and hauling material. We have pay application number 5 in the amount of $11,639.36. We recommend that you pay that.
All right, you've heard the recommendation of engineer to pay SBL contract, pay request number 5 in the amount of $11,639.36. Motion by Max, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And on the D South Levee grading and shaping, that's also SBL. He's got a dozer out there and he's moving material onto the crown of the levee. And we have pay application number 3 in the amount of $2,700 even. We recommend you pay that.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the engineer to pay SBL. Pay request number 3 in the amount of $2,700. Motion by Roland Curall, second by Roland Guidry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And on our section F levee improvements, that's on the east side, up towards Delta Farms, from Clovelly Farms to Delta Farms. We do have project plans that are complete and are at the state for approval. Once those plans are approved, then we discuss it with Wendell, we're gonna go out for bid on this project. So as soon as we get those approval, then we'll go out for bid. On A East, we're kind of on hold on this project right now, and waiting on funding. And the Go-To-Meta Pump Station wall, we're currently advertising for bids. We're gonna accept bids on Tuesday at 10 a.m., August the 18th. So that's next Tuesday, we're gonna get bids on that project.
Okay, is that it, Joe? That's all you got, Joe?
That's all from our report. Any questions?
No. All right, thank you, Joe.
Well, well,
Thank
we
you.
have, that section F, John, I'd like the board to, pass a motion allowing PCO to go ahead and advertise, get a little bid, and authorize the president to sign the, engineer approved little bid on the project.
Okay, gentlemen, you heard the recommendation of our general manager to allow Pisciola and Associates to advertise for section F of levee improvement. Motion by Roland Guidry, second by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. That's it? Okay, we'll move on to GIS engineering. John?
Okay, the A East high water control retention that Wendell mentioned earlier, we are still waiting on the Corps permit for that project, but we are continuing on with our design. We completed the topographic survey. We are still coordinating with the multitude of pipelines in that area. In addition to Loop, I think we've identified 7 other pipelines. And Loop says there are 4 other pipelines in the area that they don't know who owns them, but we're trying to track those down.
Well, I've done, those pipelines, and we won't have to build anything extraordinary, we can build these small levees over them. As long as they allow us to put that material on top of the pipeline, we shouldn't have any
At this
extra
point,
cost.
at this point, the only company that has raised a big fuss about it has been Shell, but we think we can accommodate Shell pretty easily.
I mean, you know, so everybody understands, this is not like a pipeline going through the levee, which we spend a lot of time and money because it's so critical.
Mhm.
These pipelines are for a retention pond, which
Right.
if for some reason the levee goes, there's no disaster that's gonna happen.
Right. Let's see what I got. The D South Crawfish Farm flood wall improvements. CPRA did issue some comments on our submission last month. 97 comments, as I recall. We're addressing them. We had one change in the design specifically that we requested. We should be wrapping up with those plans in the next day or two and have it back to CPRA hopefully by the end of the week. Phase 2 we're continuing, but we're gonna try to make sure phase 1 gets in place as soon as possible, and then we'll continue on with
Yes,
phase 2.
just so the board understands, most of that wall is sheet pile wall, the middle is concrete, and it's a little more complicated with the concrete. So, we told John to break it up into two projects, and he's doing that first part is the sheet pile wall, which is a much greater area. And after he accomplishes that, then we'll get to the other, which is phase 2. But concrete, if water goes over that concrete, we're not gonna lose it, all right? And it's just, it's what, it's a 13-foot elevation?
Not quite, almost 12.
Yeah, and the other part's going to 18, so we're gonna have one little hole that's not gonna, completely give way, but we should get on, or at least beginning to work on that, but, sometime during the year. Just so y'all can understand what the separation of that project.
Okay, I don't have it on our list, but we're also working on the D North ramp, as Wendell had talked about. We are continuing coordinating with Loop. They've got a fiber optic line that runs in that area, and they need to decide how they're gonna address that issue. But we're working on that. We're also working with the Islands on getting a borrow pit for that site, which would tremendously reduce the cost. So we are working on that. The Golden Meadow boat launch ramp, we got plans and specs together, we got quotes. The low quote was from Lowland Construction Company in the amount of $99,976. So Wendell and Mr. Arnold approved that, so we sent them the contracts for Lowland to sign. We expect that back in the next couple of days, and then the levee district can sign, we can get them to work. And finally, the Grand Bayou flood control structure. The receiving structure, sea level is doing fairly well. They've completed the dredging in the site. They're waiting on some additional equipment before they can go too much further. The barge gate, they've started the big work, submittals, et cetera, but they've not actually done any work yet. That's all we have.
Any questions, John? No, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Angela Cruciolo.
Yes, this is Neil. On section B North and B South levee improvement, that's from the Basin Pump Station to the Golden Meadow Park. They contracted, Poncha Train Partners is continuing with the work. The work they have remaining is on the southern end of the project in the vicinity of the Golden Meadow Park. And we expect they're gonna be completing that work in the next month or so. On section C South levee improvements, this is the area just north of the Basin Pump Station going up to the south side of Apache Farm. That contractor, Grand Isle Shipyard, is working to raise the height of that levee. They started construction about a month and a half ago, and we expect that work's gonna continue through the early spring of next year. We're recommending approval of their pay request number 3 in the amount of $79,800.95.
Okay, gentlemen, you've heard the request of our engineer, pay request number 3 to Grand Isle Shipyard, amount of $79,800.95. Moved by Max, second by Roland Curall, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, the next project is the B North Basin Boat Launch Ramp. This is the roadway crossing at the Basin Pump Station that goes over the levee. Right now, Grand Isle Shipyard is about halfway complete with the work. They're gonna be raising up that ramp to an elevation of plus 18. Right now, it's about 3 feet lower than that, and that work should be complete in the next couple of weeks. We're recommending their first pay request in the amount of $14,166.88.
Okay, you heard the recommendation of the engineer to pay Grand Isle Shipyard.
Join the meeting.
Pay request number 1 in the amount of $14,166.88. Motion by Roland Gitter, second by Roland Curall, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, and the last project is Morganza to the Gulf Reach L. This is from Apache Farm out to Grand Bayou, including some options for the Bayou Grove structure. Right now, we're finalizing the plan and specifications. We've sent some preliminary drafts of it to the CPRA for review. And we also have Eustis Engineering set up to do a handful of shallow borings on the farm next week, to try to start planning up and finalizing our potential borrow source for that material. So we anticipate having, final plans ready for everyone to review late this month. And that's all I have for my report.
Any questions for Neil? Thank you, Neil.
All right, thank you.
Delta Coast Consulting.
He couldn't make it.
You not there? No report. All right, let's see, All South Consulting, anybody here for them?
I'm here, Mr. Chairman. So we have a couple projects to report on today, excuse me. So one of them is a marsh mitigation project. Wendell showed a couple of pictures of this during the slideshow. This project is basically complete, built about 40 acres of marsh outside of the Apache Farm area. The contractor has left the site. All the work is complete over there. We have a couple of things on the agenda related to this project. We have a change order to give the contractor additional days, about 79 days, for a variety of factors. And then we also have the substantial completion, which we recommend the board granting as of May 11th. Frankly, the project came out pretty good. Again, Wendell emphasized, I think we have about 8 to 10 extra acres of marsh creation outside of the original project area, which truthfully we're going to quantify and submit in association with the Terrebonne Levee District to defray some other mitigation obligations that you have related to each case. So with that being said, I would recommend, also I would recommend both the approval of change order, I think it's number 2. Change order number 2, which adds 79 days to the contract time, extends the contract time to May 11th, 2020. So I think we need a motion individually on these, right?
Motion by Matt, second by Roland Curall, that we do change order number 2, that's 79 calendar days for this project. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And then the second action item for this project, Mr. Chairman, is to grant substantial completion as of May 11th, 2020, which we do right now.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the engineer to accept the certificate of substantial completion. Motion by Roland Guidry, seconded by Roland Curall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next project I have to report on, Mr. Chairman, is the Reach K reshaping project. So we began reshaping the lower end of Reach K a couple of months ago. Your contractor for that job is Lowland Construction. During the month of July, they really had about half the month, but we had wet weather. I'm sure it affected all of your dirt projects. So really, the back end of July was extremely wet. They didn't get a heck of a lot of progress done during July, but boy, they really kind of cranked it up in the last week when we had some good, hot, dry weather. Most of this project, we did a site visit, and I see Reggie and Wendell, we did a site visit last week, I guess it was. And most of this project site is looking really good. There is a low area right in the middle of it, which the contractor is working diligently to get up to a decent elevation. Most of that is already at 7.5. There's some of it that's not at that elevation, but we're certainly going to get the rest of that to that elevation pretty quickly. I guess the best news about the Reach K project in the last 30 days is though we applied for FEMA funding to reimburse this board for damage incurred by Hurricane Barry. A week ago today, we got a notification from FEMA that the request for funding had been approved, basically. They call it obligated. It's basically $1.9 million of reimbursement coming to the South Lafourche Levee District and their partners, which includes the Terrebonne Levee District and the state of Louisiana. So that is a good thing. The intention for that money is we're going to put on the street a package to deliver about 55,000 yards of dirt to Reach K. The basis for the FEMA claim was that the storm washed a bunch of dirt away. So we made a claim and said we gotta go buy 55,000 yards and put it back on there. So we're gonna work in the next month to put a solicitation out for delivery of 55,000 yards of dirt to Reach K, which of course we're just gonna add to the mix out there and keep improving your levee system out there. There's no board action necessary for that. I'm just giving that to you as part of the report, okay? And I think the last thing about Reach K is, again, the next item on the agenda is working with wildlife and fisheries. And because of an application that the board made for some additional funding, we've recommended, but wildlife and fisheries would like to apply for a permit to replace the 2 water control structures on Reach K. You know, the 2 structures where everybody goes crabbing all the time up and down Grand Bayou. So we've applied for about $7 million in funding to replace both of those structures. In order to replace them, we gotta amend the permit or get a new permit. The best way to do that is to get wildlife and fisheries to apply for the permit, because they operate them. So we've got an agenda item or proposal to have All South do the permit drawings, and then we're gonna give those drawings to wildlife and fisheries, and then they apply for the permit, okay? And the amount of that request, it's 8,000 something. So the request, right, Wendell, is to authorize an expenditure of $8,860 for All South to prepare permit drawings that will be delivered to the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries so that they can apply for the permit. That's the right number.
And the other thing I'm gonna add is North Lafourche and Terrebonne have agreed to reimburse South Lafourche for this cost, to get this done. Dwayne sent me an email on it, and we have an overall, between the 3 levee districts that reach K&L agreement, North Lafourche and Terrebonne put up each of $40,000 a year. So this 8,000 or whatever will come out of that fund.
So it's a no-lose deal for you.
You need a motion on that?
I think we need a motion for that, right? We need a motion to authorize that.
Okay, so you heard the recommendation of attorney, authorize $8,860 for permit drawings. Moved by Roland Curall, second by Roland Guidry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Well, I think that's it for me, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Stevie. Okay, legal permits and right-of-way, Mitch?
I don't have any this month, Keith.
There was one, we get just an extension of a project we've approved before. So I'd like to go ahead and I think we will approve that.
Okay. I heard a recommendation of our general manager to approve the extension on a previously,
There's a pipeline, sometimes pipeline.
Permit issue.
Project, yeah.
okay, motion by Mac, second by Roland Curall. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, Mr. Board Attorney, you have anything to report?
No, sir.
Oh, we should have a board.
Finance Committee?
Okay.
And Bonnie?
Mr. Vice President, we, Finance Committee met, reviewed invoices, and recommend we pay all invoices as presented.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of our Finance Committee Chairman to approve and pay all invoices. Motion by, again by Monty, seconded by Roland Curall. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And Personnel Committee, Monty?
Yeah, okay, we have a mobile equipment operator one position to be filled. We met as a committee today, discussed the applicant, and, as of right now, we found a candidate, upon the recommendation of our, field supervisor, so we, just need approval on that hire.
Okay, we have a motion from our Personnel Committee Chairman to approve the hire of this candidate to, as a mobile drone operator. Need a second, Mac. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, any old business?
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, sorry. Any old business? Any old business? Any new business?
I was thanking people for the motion. I know Tanner McGee and Jerome Durant, they sit on a couple of budget committees, so we know that was very helpful, so we want to make sure that we mention that. Anybody else we need to thank? Because I know you got to thank the governor, because he doesn't.
Yeah, he signed off on
He's the guy, he got the pen that can knock it out if he doesn't like it, you know, so thank the governor and, get Jerome and Tanner, and thank you.
So we're gonna need no executive session. Motion by Max to adjourn, second by Roland Curall. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.